company. This sort of thing happens all the time. So can y'all see my screen? Presenting, but it doesn't appear to be showing my screen right now. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, I think we're good. So just to introduce myself, my name is Matt Harvey, and I am the Soto ISD's account manager for Campus to Careers. So what is Campus to Careers, you might ask? It is essentially a college and career readiness software designed to help connect students in high school with the best opportunities with their higher education partners that help them obtain a 2 or 4 year degree without having to accrue years of student debt, without switching between majors multiple times, and basically spending so much time in school that they never advance to a career. And beyond that, we also want to match students with college degrees to local employers in your area. So the way I love to show off this program is I like to walk teachers and parents through the student experience, because this is the quintessential part of Campus to Careers. And I also want to make sure that you guys can, kind of see what your kids are up to. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to type them away in the chat window, and I will get to them as we go through the presentation. So with that having been said, this is Campus to Careers. This is the homepage for Stanley Student. He's my little DeSoto High School student profile that I've created. So this is sort of the homepage that students see when they first log in. And when parents are able to log in, which I'll show you guys in a little bit, their homepage looks similar. So this is a completely built-out student profile. You see my little profile completions at 100%. But let's pretend for a minute that Stanley Student is logging in as a DeSoto freshman for the very first time. And he has no idea what this software is for or what he's supposed to be doing. Like any social media page, the first thing you're going to do is build out your profile. It's a fairly simple step, but it's one that's very important to help connect students with careers. And in this, they're going to put in things like, their personal information. One interesting thing they can record is their top college choices, which we're able to track. So we're able to tell the team at DeSoto, this is where your students are most interested in applying to college. And we have a massive, massive list of colleges here that students can choose from. Stanley Students has picked a few, as you can see. I picked UT of Austin and Texas A&M, so that I'm at both sides of that debate, but we're just going to suspend that for a minute and just say that UT is just a little better at football. And moving right that along, students are also able to track their honors and awards, their activities and clubs, their hobbies and interests. A lot of this is fairly superficial. Students can select the organizations they're a part of, and it doesn't directly connect them to careers. But it's very important for students to still fill out, because the more information that students put into the system, the more reports that we can run that find correlations between, say, student participation in organizations and their GPA. And last year, what we found with some of our district partners is that the more active students are in organizations, the more that the higher their GPA rises as a result, particularly for groups like orchestra and student government, music, and so on. And now we get to some of the meat and bones of the student profile, and this is my skills. And one thing that I'm going to tell both parents and teachers is that this is not a one and done, you fill out your profile, you're good type section. What you're going to do is you're going to be constantly encouraging your student to come back and build on this part of their profile as they go through the student experience. What we have under workforce skills, and this is one of the key parts of our site that helps link students to careers, and I'll show you how that works in a minute. But what students are going to be able to do is they're going to find a really great balance between hard and soft skills. Hard skills being things like scientific analysis, like statistics, like mechanical skills. And soft skills being things like active listening, relationship building, the ability to communicate well through verbal and written work. Skills that are often less emphasized on resumes and so on, but skills that employers are still really looking for in today's workforce. So if Stanley student is a ninth grader logging in for the very first time, he has no idea what some of these skills are. He's never done scientific analysis. He may not know much about statistics. He may not have many hardware configuration or mechanical skills, and that's okay. What we want students to do when they first log in is select the skills that they do have. Soft skills that are still very important to employers, like writing skills and active listening and creative skills. Skills that can still help link students to careers. And then we encourage students to constantly come back, and as they gain new skills each year that they're in school, to add them to their profile. The Campus to Careers profile is something that we have designed to follow students all the way through high school, all the way through college, and to the completion of their first career after graduation. And they can also include any foreign languages that they know, as well as IT skills. And IT skills is an interesting one that we track because in today's world, students at DeSoto or any other district, they may not be taking classes in high school on things like HTML programming or JavaScript and things of that nature. But in today's world, students are able to still go home at the end of a school day and spend 20 minutes watching a video tutorial on YouTube, and they will automatically learn more about programming than I ever will in my life. So we still want to be able to track those skills for district and see where student interests lie. So that way we can have an impact on where student skills are focused, what skills are needed for the workforce, and we can prepare students as best we can. And then next what we have is this little My Virtual Resume component. And this is one of my favorite parts of the site. So students are able to add a wide range of experiences to their little virtual resume. They just click this little Add Experience button, and they can add things like college visits. So if they went to visit, say, they went to go visit Baylor. Baylor University is right up here. Baylor University is one of the most popular colleges for students in Texas to go to, as we all know. They can track the university, the date they visited it. They can also select the reason why they visited, whether it's for a college event or a family trip, or part of the Gear Up program, as many students at DeSoto will do. They can provide feedback, they can rate their visit, provide comments, and all of this can be tracked by the district. So it's a really great way to be able to track where your students, especially those who are sophomores and juniors, where they're interested in going to college, where they're visiting, where they're having the most impact, and we can plan for students to begin taking dual enrollment classes at those universities as a result. Beyond that, students can even add things like internship experiences. They put in the name of their employer, their internship title, the type of internship, whether it's paid or unpaid, how they were connected to it, and so on. And after they've added a range of experiences, we also have things like research experiences, which students are doing more and more of, or program experiences. For example, a Stanley student participated, and this is modeled after another student profile, an actual student. This student attended a Model United Nations conference in high school. All things that are invaluable experiences for both college admissions committees and potential employers. And one of the cool features that's releasing next week is a resume builder. So students are going to be able to go in themselves, select the experiences that they're most interested in showing to employers or college admissions reps, and will automatically put that into a resume template that they can provide. We still encourage students to go in, edit the template, personalize it, make it a personal resume that really communicates their strengths, but at least gives them a starting point. Because as some of you may remember, writing your first resume is sometimes a little bit of an overwhelming experience, and we want to help students with that process. Two other cool aspects of the student profile that are fairly important for college admissions especially are the My Bio and My Portfolio tabs. So this is where the student can share a little bit more personal information. They can include links to their social media accounts down here, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, LinkedIn, whatever else is out there. There's a new one every day. Students have a way of sharing that if they so choose. And then we have the My Portfolio tab. And this is really great, especially when students begin using this software to apply for jobs and internships. And I'll go over that in a minute. But essentially, the portfolio allows students to showcase academic or personal work that they're really proud of. Stanley's student has included 2 research papers on his portfolio, which teachers and employers can review. And this is a multi-format uploader, so we always encourage students, don't feel like you're limited just by, to show off academic work. If you are an aspiring artist, showcase your graphic design work. We have a lot of students doing that. We have students who upload like PowerPoint presentations, Excel files, PDFs, like it's a multi-format uploader. So whatever work the student really wants to showcase to employers and college admissions teams, they're able to do so. So after the student has gone in, they've built their profile, they continue to add to it. Now we get into the real meat of Campus to Careers, which is our career research. And this is where those workforce skills that I highlighted come in handy. That's a key part of how we connect students to careers in our system. So our system matches students to careers based on 2 factors. One is the workforce skills, and the other is this career interest inventory that they're going to take. And this is a 6-page assessment. It's called the RACIC assessment, developed by John Holland. It is one of the most popular career interest inventories in the world. And it's very simple. It provides students with a list of various job functions, and they are asked to rank those job functions on a scale of like to dislike. Very important to emphasize, this is not asking whether the student has those skills. It's not asking whether the student is actively pursuing applying to schools in that major for that program. It's simply asking, is this something you feel like you would be interested in doing for a career? So students go through, they complete the 6-page assessment. The system does not let them submit it until they completed it. And once they have, they can view the results of their career assessment broken down into these 6 categories. And you can always tell when I take one of these student profiles myself, because my realistic score is a resounding 0, which means that I'm not meant to be doing a lot of outside work anytime soon. My outdoor adventures are limited to sipping margaritas on a shaded patio, but that's just me. Many students will have high scores in realistic and low skills in artistic or conventional. Each of the 6 categories provides the student with an idea of what type of work their personality might be most driven towards. For me, my top scores are investigative and artistic. Those are where my strengths are. And then once they complete that, that's when they can begin to examine the multitude of career profiles that we have on the site. We have over 2,000 of them, and all of these profiles, as well as our skills assessment, are provided to us by the U.S. Department of Labor, which actively tracks and updates the resources that we have available. So at first glance, students are able to go through, they're able to see the careers that they're matched with. They can see the name of the career as well as the average annual salary it makes. We also chose to break that down into dollars per hour, so that way students have a realistic view of which careers might be most beneficial to them in the long run. And that way they can know, I might want to be a teacher or a psychologist, but we want to look at the annual salaries and break that down so the student knows exactly how much money they'd be making in a real world context. And then as well as that, each one of our careers has its own profile page on the site. So I'll just go ahead and click on anthropologist because that's my top score for some reason. So each one of our 2,000 careers has its own little profile page. And again, we have the annual salary. We have a little video snapshot that shows a day in the life of what it's like to work in that career. The videos are only, on average about 2 minutes long, so the students will not be spending the entire day watching just one video. And under this, the student can learn which of the career clusters and career pathways the career is a part of under House Bill 5. Part of House Bill 5 requires that students create personal graduation plans in high school, which their counselors and parents have to approve. So we want students to know this is where this career field generally lies. Highlighted in green are the workforce skills that the student has selected that help link them to that career. So the student can directly see which of their strengths help make them well connected to this career. And we also highlight what level of degree is required. Some careers only require a bachelor's, some require a master's. We want students to know that so they can plan accordingly for how much school they have to plan for. And we have a little bit of information about the job in verbal form, so that way they can learn a little bit more about uh, what those degrees lead to. And then my favorite part is this growth by state map. And this shows a job growth trends in that career for all, and it's updated every 2 weeks by the U.S. Department of Labor. So if Stanley's student is say, a senior in high school, and he is really interested in becoming an anthropologist for some reason, he might be looking at getting ready to apply to colleges, and he's looking at this, and he sees that the state of Texas has generally below average opportunities for advancement in that career. Whereas the entire West Coast apparently has above average job trends. So the student can still apply to colleges in Texas, but we might want to encourage that student to also apply to schools in places like California or Arizona or Montana or Washington State. So that way students can, realize that they might have a better chance of succeeding if they begin planning that far in advance for their career. And then students are able to like or dislike careers. Because one thing I hear from students all the time is, this career assessment matched me to a career that I'm not really interested in. That's great. We love it when that happens. So that way the students can realize, this might be a hidden talent that I have. This might be where my skills might naturally lead me to. But if it's a career I really don't like, you can always like or dislike it, and that will remove the career from your filter, and it will impact the matching algorithm of the other careers that the student is matched with. I have 100% matches for my top scores because this profile is completely built. A freshman who has only entered a few workforce skills and hasn't built up their profile on the site will not have that high of a score at first. Their top score may be closer to 80 or 90. That's perfectly fine. We encourage that any score that's highlighted in green or is generally 75% or higher is something that's worth researching. It may be something that the student is interested in. And then after the student has performed some research, they can then access this career cluster report. And this is a handy dandy little tool that the parents will also have access to. And this shows the results of the student's career interest inventory that I showed you earlier, broken down into the 16 Texas career clusters, so the student can see where their strengths and weaknesses might lie. Now, the gray bars represent the RACIC score, which is just their career interest inventory. So my top score with just that is 49, then 40 in education and training, and so on. However, these little orange sections represent the student's likes and dislikes. Each like or dislike affects the matching algorithm by 1 point. It's not enough to drastically shape the results. A student who has a high score in marketing and architecture, for example, will not be able to completely reshape their graph, so those two are at the bottom. But we do want students to feel as though their interests are being taken into account. And it can affect the matching algorithm. So, for example, my scores in science and technology, agriculture, IT, and law and public safety are all 30. But science is ranked highest because I've liked 2 careers in that field. So science will have a higher score. Again, it's very supplementary. It's a very, very low impact. But we still want students to feel as though if they're truly passionate and interested about a particular career, we want to be able to encourage that, not stifle it. To that end, we also encourage accurate academic research. So if students are interested and they're very focused on a specific career, they can search for it by keyword. They can narrow their results down by career cluster. So if they're particularly focused on STEM, they can focus their research there. And one thing I always encourage students to do is to filter their choices by careers that are growing in the state of Texas and by careers that require a college degree. And you can see automatically that cut out my top match choices considerably. And now what's left is I have careers that have generally higher wages, and they also require those college degrees that will help me be more viable as a candidate for that career later on. Sometimes this is discouraging to students in high school. What we have found is that overwhelmingly, the top choice of career among students is either actor or athlete. And both of those we don't want to tell students that, those are really bad ideas, but we do want to make sure that students know that those are not high yielding careers. They don't grow very well. They're very competitive. And so if the student really does want to focus on those, this is the level of work that you have to start putting in with your studies today. And then it's also good to have a backup plan as well. So this is the meat and bones of Campus to Careers. This is where we really want students to really begin to focus on which careers will lead to a college degree and which of those degrees will help lead them to a sustainable future. And once they've left high school and they're getting ready to look for internships or part-time work, that's where we have this handy-dandy job board. And this is where careers are posted by your local employers and partners in DeSoto ISD. So every employer and student, in order to look for work, has to complete this little workplace inventory. It's a little 3-page assessment, simply helping to connect students with the type of careers that they're looking for. So it asks questions like which type of work you prefer, which type of work environment you're interested in, work schedule, management style, things that can help students connect to their ideal workplace. Because as we all know, there's nothing that can be quite as challenging sometimes as a workplace culture or practice that just doesn't quite mesh with what you're looking for in your long-term career. And we want to help students alleviate that. So students will complete their workplace inventory. Employers complete it as well. And then when students go through and they research their careers, they can filter by the type of job, whether it's part-time, something that's on campus, volunteer hours, if they're tracking volunteer hours specifically. They can filter by the size of the company, by location, by the specific field that they want to work in or department within an organization. There's a lot of good research there. So I'll just go ahead and click on the top result here, which is petty cab driver. So this is a job that's based in Austin, but a lot of students who graduate from DeSoto High School may move down to Austin. We want to make sure that they can research careers in those areas. So they can see the name of the employer, the type of job that it is, who the contact is. The employer can put in the description of the job as well as instructions for how to apply. And the student can apply with their virtual resume that I showed you earlier, right on Campus to Careers. We've had great success, especially with connecting dual enrolled and college students to internships using this job board. And for employers that aren't directly connected to your school district, for employers that may be posting on sites like LinkedIn or Craigslist or ZipRecruiter, you want to make sure that students can access those jobs as well. So under our job board, we have Eagle Jobs, which are your local partner employers. And then we also have a tab called All Jobs. And what this is a view into our exclusive partnership with ZipRecruiter. So every job that's posted on ZipRecruiter can be found on Campus to Careers as well. Students don't fill out a workplace inventory for these, since these employers don't have Campus to Careers accounts. They don't apply with their virtual resume, but students can be directed to all these external job postings. They can look for opportunities that interest them, and that way they're not limited to just the resources that are on Campus to Careers. We want to make sure students have every resource available. And to that end, Campus to Careers, as well as the good people of DeSoto ISD, have helped to compile a wide range of resources under our Folders and Video Wall tab, both of which the parents will have access to as well. And under those things, we provided a lot of materials on things like how to write a good cover letter. Our folder is like our mini Dropbox, so we upload documents here that students can review and research. Teachers and administrators can create folders as well. So we have great tips on like how to write a good cover letter. We have tips on differentiating between hard and soft skills. So students can realize that things like active listening and teamwork and skills that are generally considered fluff skills on a resume are still very highly prized by employers. We also have a lot of content on our video wall, and this is sort of our little mini academic Netflix. I myself have actually curated most of this content. One of my favorite little video streams, which is sort of like a Netflix category, is the top 50 national universities ranked by US News. Every single one of these top 50 universities has its own video that I posted on this site. So that way students can become familiar with opportunities that lie beyond their front door. A perfect example of why I chose to create this in particular. I was working with a group of students last year in October, and it was about 300 or 400 juniors out in El Paso. And I asked them at one point, how many of you have heard of Cornell University? And out of about 400 students, about 6 or 7 raised their hands. You want to make sure that students are aware of what opportunities lie outside their front door and encourage them to follow those if they lead to a productive career. For students who stay in Texas, as many do, I also put together a playlist of the top 50 ranked colleges in Texas so they can learn more about the schools that are right in their front door. So that is essentially the student experience in a compressed nutshell. Now, what matters is how parents can access this. So I'm actually going to log back into my student account just to show you that quickly. We want parents to be able to be involved with this software. We want parents to be part of the conversation as students begin looking for the careers and degree programs that they're most interested in. So in order for your student to create an account for you, they just have to go to Settings. And then right here on the bottom, there is an option to create a parent account. So all they have to do is click that button. It pulls up this field that students will fill out. The parent will need an email address to provide to the student so they can register. And they'll just put in the parent's first and last name and email. And if they want to put in their contact info or their work experience or their education, they can do that as well. After the student creates the parent account, the parent will receive an email providing them with their username and password information. So I'll just go ahead and log into my parent account. And here we go. This is Mother Mindy's profile page. She's the mother of Stanley's student. Now, the parent portal is a little bit smaller, a little bit easier to navigate. There's not as much here, just as this site is for your students. But there are a lot of really cool things you can do. The first thing you can do is you can create your own parent profile. It's not required, but if you do want to include things like your occupation, your degree, do that. You can also access your student's profile by going up here and clicking the Your Child icon. And that will enable you to see exactly what employers and your students' teachers will see. So any information that the student has added to their profile, including a resume if they've uploaded one, social media links if they've added them. You can see the school that student, the skills that they've added to their profile, any awards they've received, their extracurriculars, their interests, where they're interested in going to college. You can also look at their virtual resume. So if you want to track, if you are part of tracking your students' volunteer hours as they get ready to apply to college, for example, your student can add all of their volunteer to careers, and you can log in and see exactly how many hours they've worked, and you can track how far they need to go to reach their goal. Same with any internship experiences, any extracurricular activities, all of that is something that you have direct access to. As well as their portfolio. Anything that they upload to their portfolio, you can see as well. So a lot of great academic work that your students have done that you have right to be proud of. And then lastly, you can also access your students' work on the career discovery module, which is really important. So you can see which responses your student has added to their career cluster report. You can see the complete breakdown of where their strengths and weaknesses lie. And you can also see the individual results of their RACIC assessments. You can see the top careers they're matched with, and you can also, for your own research, filter down which of your students' careers are actively growing and which lead to a college degree. So this is all allotted with your student directly on campus to careers, but you can be part of the conversation. As your students get ready to start applying to colleges, you want you to be part of the conversation so you can see exactly where your student might want to focus. Again, we personally like to make sure that students are free to follow their passions, but we want to make sure that they can do so with all of the information and evidence that we have available. So when students begin applying to college, when they begin looking for careers, they can make an informed decision, and hopefully one that can lead to a really happy and beneficial career for them. You can also see our little calendar module up here. So any calendar items that are loaded by teachers or district administrators, you can see them as well. You can also add events to your student's calendar, which is really cool. So if you want to remind your student that your homework is due today, you can go ahead and put in today's dates, enter in details like make sure to submit your resume in the folders tab. And that will appear on your student's calendar. So when they log in, they'll receive a notification letting them know that that calendar has been added, and then they'll be able to see exactly what it is that they need to accomplish that day. You also have access to all of the materials in the folders and video wall. However, as a parent, you will not be able to upload materials yourselves, but you can see what the team at Campus to Careers, as well as the team at DeSoto, has added to the site. So, and a lot of this information is really beneficial. For example, under Video Wall, we have profiles that discuss, the challenges of being a first-generation college student in Texas and how to best be prepared for applying to college. We have videos on various Gear Up programs, tips on how to ace a good job interview. All information that is still really helpful as you're working with your student to plan for the future. And then last but not least, you guys, if you ever have any trouble with the site, if there's something you can't figure out, you don't have to call Heidi and the rest of the team at DeSoto to figure out what the answer is. You can go ahead and click this little support link up here. You go ahead and you can select whether you're reporting a problem or making a suggestion. You type in the subject and the message. You put your email address in this box. And all of those support emails go directly to my inbox. Yay. So if you guys ever have a question, I am more than available to help out and help you guys get familiar with the site and help answer any questions you might have. That having been said, I've been jawing on for quite a while now. Does anyone have any questions so far? If you guys want to raise your hand, I think Heidi can unmute you guys to make things a little easier, but I'm not sure how that works.
I can, or you can just type in the box, in the chat box.
Either way.
No questions. Okay.
Wow, fantastic.
Well, thank you, Matt. You did a great job.
No problem, no problem. Do you want me to stick around or in case anything comes up?
No, I think I'm just going to wrap it up and we'll be done.
All right, well, thank you guys so much. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to either use the support link or you can go ahead and let Heidi and Andre know, and they know how to get a hold of me lickety-split. So thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. You have a great day.
Okay, so the last thing we wanted to do was just give you all a chance to vote on what topics you want to possibly see in our next series and in the future. So before you check out on us, if you could just put in your vote here and we can get an idea of what kinds of topics that you would like to hear more about. Summer programs in the lead. I guess as we're going, I can kind of give you an idea of what some of these are. The College Board and Khan Academy, that is a national program that the College Board is a site that students can log into to get their PSAT and SAT scores. And they've linked up with the Khan Academy to give resources with the scores that the students get to target instruction, and they'll be given videos and things that they can help increase the scores that they got, maybe lower in some categories than others. The summer program is every summer we offer text prep, arts programs, things for some students to do in the summer, and instead of just being home all day, what kind of resources do we offer your students? How Many Works, that's just a financial resource to help save for college and how to make what money you do have extra to add that towards your students' college goals. And then just kind of get more in depth into the different programs that the high school has. The iSTEAM program, which is going to be a new one next year. If any of your students are participating in iSTEAM on the middle school level, you might already be familiar with it and interested in having your students continue on with that in high school. And then some of the requirements for the AP courses, or what are the requirements for the collegiate magnet and early colleges. And then if you just wanted us to do another one like on March 1st, so we can go over that website that gives ideas on which colleges accept AP or which ones accept IB, give you more in-depth knowledge about that. That's that last one. And after you voted, I just want to say thank you all for coming and joining us tonight. I hope you gained some very interesting information that you can take along and help your students as they progress on this road to college and eventually their fantastic careers. So you'll be hearing from me in a couple of weeks about our next session, and I'll be sending you an email to register if you're interested in attending again. So thank you for coming, and I hope you all have a great evening.